The city of Tel Aviv continues to be Iran's prime target, and there have been regular attacks. Early this morning, our cameraman here recorded these pictures of an incoming salvo being met by interceptor missiles.
I'm not going to lie, that's an incredible sight.
In case you never see us again, I just want to say one thing. God bless America. God bless all of you.
God bless our troops, and I ask that everybody in our nation pray for them. The last thing that they need is to hear political jargon, people complaining and saying that we're fighting for Israel, Donald Trump bad, Donald Trump is a clown, it's all about the Epstein files, all of this other jargon. No matter how we feel, these men and women are putting themselves on the line every day, and they need our support and prayers. Conservatives are saying one thing, the Democrats and liberals are saying another. But I'm going to share a video with you from MS Now's Rachel Maddow, and I want you to hear what she has to say about it. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share.
So why is it? Maybe it's for oil, as the president daydreams himself into another 19th century war fantasy of conquering some foreign land he doesn't understand or care about, but he would like to rob them of their natural resources. Maybe he thinks Iran and its proud 92 million people will happily and easily become a new colony in an empire helmed by an American emperor. Maybe that's what he thinks. But as this now becomes the 7th country Trump has bombed just since being back in office for 1 year, cui bono? Who benefits? It seems like a disturbingly easy question to answer. Why has the U.S. government been pushed in this direction? Follow the money. Why is Donald Trump willing to let that happen? Well, with this president, sadly, we keep learning over and over and over again that the easiest answer is almost always the truest one. He does not play four-dimensional chess. There's just him and what we know he's like, right? This president appears to have grown his enormous and excitable new appetite for military intervention in just this 1 year back in office. Apparently because he just thinks war is easy. It's exciting. It earns him not only close attention, but even occasionally plaudits from the very serious people who are professionally inclined to believe that there's some rationale, some strategery, some good thinking behind the start of every war, particularly in the Middle East.
Now, I'm just going to stop that right there. But Rachel Maddow says this while being one of the front runners, to speak at a Lockheed Martin conference, a Lockheed Martin and Palantir conference. Let me show you the proof. Okay, so this is an Intercept article named Jamie Raskin and Rachel Maddow, brought to you by Peter Thiel and Lockheed Martin. Okay, so both she and Representative Raskin of Maryland were outspoken critics of the defense budget, right? That they talked about MAGA and the Republican Party, but yet they agreed to go to a conference and sponsor a conference with Lockheed Martin and Palantir, who has a $26 billion defense contractor budget, with Peter Thiel for Lockheed Martin with the defense company for the Pentagon. Okay, so the appearances by Raskin and Maddow will come as part of TrueCon, the conference of the Democratic Party-aligned Truman Center, which runs from June 1st to the 4th in Washington, D.C. TrueCon's website describes the conference as an opportunity to see thought leaders across government policy and national security fields speak on the most pressing issues facing America today. And who are so anti-war would not dare to see themselves in the same room with the biggest Pentagon funder, Lockheed Martin, or even Palantir, but yet there she is. And she wants to tell you to follow the money. I think we should follow the money when it comes to her. I wonder how much these corporations actually paid Ms. Maddow to speak at their conferences. And this is exactly why it is so important to do your own research so that you can come to an unbiased conclusion on what's actually happening. But I'm going to share some more footage on why the United States is actually involved with this war. Let's take a look.
Good evening. The U.S. Embassy in Tehran has been invaded and occupied by Iranian students. The Americans inside have been taken prisoner, and according to a student spokesman, will be held as hostages until the deposed Shah is returned from the United States, where he's receiving medical treatment for cancer.
The American embassy in Tehran is in the hands of Muslim students tonight. Spurred on by an anti-American speech by the Ayatollah Khomeini, they stormed the embassy, fought the Marine Guards for 3 hours, overpowered them, and took dozens of American hostages.
Some 60 Americans are now beginning their 6th day of captivity inside the U.S. Embassy in Tehran.
For the last 24 days, our nation's concern has been focused on our fellow Americans being held hostage in Iran.
Day 314 of the hostage crisis in Iran.
There has been the startling new development in the Iran hostage crisis. That U.S. attempt to launch a military rescue of the American hostages in Tehran has been, as you have now heard several times, aborted.
Late yesterday, I canceled a carefully planned operation which was underway in Iran to position our rescue team for a later withdrawal of American hostages. Equipment failure in the rescue helicopters made it necessary to end the mission. As our team was withdrawing, 2 of our American aircraft collided on the ground. There was no fighting, there was no combat. But to my deep regret, 8 of the crewmen of the 2 aircraft which collided were killed, and several other Americans were hurt in the accident.
Now, day one. Day one of Ronald Reagan's presidency, and day one of freedom for 52 Americans. Though thousands of miles apart, these 2 historic events moved almost on parallel tracks today. The new president had not been in office an hour when the former hostages became free men and women again.
One of the acts in my life which has been the most moving and gratifying in meeting with the now liberated Americans who were held hostage in Iran for so long. I pointed out to them that since their capture by the Iranian terrorists and they are being held in this despicable act of savagery, that the American people's hearts have gone out to them, that our nation has been united as perhaps never before in history.
Now, this is why Iran was invaded. And this is why the United States has a stake in this war. Iran was not a Muslim country at first. That day in 1979, I believe it was November 11th, 1979, when those 20 Muslim students went into the U.S. Embassy and took over, that was when Iran itself changed as a nation. Iran was a nation, it was Persia, and they pretty much had a free society, a democracy, like we have in the United States. And this is a warning for you guys. But once those Muslim students went in and took those people hostage, and as you saw from the video, they weren't taken hostage for like 5, 7, 10 days. No, they were taken hostage for 444 days. It took 444 days for these people to be released. And they weren't released under Jimmy Carter's presidency. They were released under Ronald Reagan's. So a president makes a difference, right? It kind of gives you parallel um, beliefs, a parallel between Reagan and, let's say, Trump. What they wouldn't do for one president, they would do for another. So I guess Ronald Reagan was a threat to Iran. They figured if we don't let these people go, they're going to bomb us into oblivion. They were right. So they let him go. The same way with Trump. Trump's not playing with these people. After he negotiated for a while and he saw that these people were stalling so that they could enrich more uranium and make more bombs, to what? To do what they promised to do, to destroy Israel, the Jews, and the great Satan, America. That's what they believe about us. But when the IAEA, the nuclear watchdog that's in place to make sure that Iran doesn't have enough uranium to make a nuclear weapon, saw that they were at the place where they could make a weapon, a missile, a long range missile that was able to hit the United States, Trump said absolutely not. And this is not new to this administration, you know. Every administration, even beforehand, felt that Iran shouldn't be able to have a nuclear weapon. I don't know why Obama gave $1.6 billion to them. Who knows? But, you know, this war was something that had to happen. And like Trump said, if Israel wasn't going to do it, he was going to do it. He's not going to put America in a place where we can be bombed like Iran, have hostages taken. And next thing you know, our country's taken over by jihadists and it's no longer recognizable, right? The women are walking around in hijabs. We don't have a president, our cabinet members, our Congress, all of the liberties that we had with our government are now out of the way because we have a guy like the Ayatollah, who, if you don't know, has been in power in Iran since that time, since 1979. That's when he took over. And the thing about these jihadists, the Khomeini and people like him, is that they believe the more chaos in the world, the more apt their savior, the Mahdi, is able to come and redeem the Islamists. That's what they think. Okay, so it's behooving upon them to cause mass chaos, to cause wars, to unalive people, to behead people, and all this other kind of stuff. So I hope that gives you some insight as to why we are actually in this war. All right, and let me know what you think about it. All right, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.